Hi, this is Carolyn, and I'm here with Aaron, and we are really excited to have Brett here with us. Brett is the incoming president of USTA Southern. He is the tennis director at the Stone Creek Club. He's coached and played college tennis at LSU, and he even wrote a book about tennis called Competitive Tennis, Climbing the NTRP Ladder. So, Brett, thank you so much for being here with us, and can you start off by telling us about your tennis background?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I have listened to several of y'all's episodes and saw y'all at the awards banquet at Southern, and you guys are so well deserving of that award that I'm happy to be asked to be on. You know, I grew up playing basketball, frankly, and then I got into playing tennis late in my teens, and I was able to play well enough to make it to play at LSU. So, you know, I won the state championship in high school when I played at LSU. We had a top 10 team a couple years there. I played just in the summers when I was a kid, but like a lot of kids of my era, it wasn't year-round tennis back then for a lot of people. So I just did it as a summer sport and got more interested into it when I was 15 and took it on to another level and started playing year-round, and I was able to improve enough to play, you know, D1 college tennis on a very good team.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's impressive. That doesn't happen nowadays like that. You have to basically touch a racket since you're like 3 years old and
yes,
go through recruiting. Yeah, all kinds
It's definitely a different dynamic in 2022 for sure.
Yeah. So Carolyn and I both have your book. Very impressive. It's called Competitive Tennis, and it's about the NTRP rating system. What made you decide to write that book, and tell us that process? Because it's very involved.
Yeah, well, I had an idea because way back when, in my era, you would look in the tennis magazine and it would be Cliff Drysdale and Stan Smith and all these pros would write all the articles on how to play tennis. And so, you know, we were looking at it and it was just like, you know, serve and volley, and it never really was categorized for anybody of any certain level. It might have said B player or whatever, but most of the time it was just pro level strategy. And so my friend Chris and I were just riding to Florida one day, and I get this idea. He goes, I've been thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to write the book then. So, you know, writing a tennis book where you have to have examples and you have to have diagrams and photos. You have to write to the diagram or to the photo. So it wasn't easy. And then you have to do spacing. We had to do all our own photos. So we had to stage the photos. But I think in the end, it was a great experience for me and Chris. And you know, it turned out we sold all the copies that we had printed on the first run. We didn't have a second run. And then they put it, one day we got a royalty check for translation rights into Russian. So it's 3,000 copies in Russian. So it's a hardback in Russia. So, you know, and I joke with everybody, we're kind of like, what's the guy's name who's famous in Germany, and he sings in America, and he's a loser in America, but he's in Germany, he gets off the plane, everybody loves him. Kind of like that in Russia, I guess.
Carolyn and I were actually driving together somewhere, and I was reading a lot of it and going through. So the nice thing is it's broken down into each level. So from 2.5, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0, 4.5, and then was it 5? What is it, like 5.0?
5.0 and 5.0 and above, and you have three pages on 5.0 and above. It's basically like you know how to do everything now. But at 2.5, it's like 40 pages, and 3.0, it's 40 pages. So we were laughing at that.
Yeah. So the NTRP system was already in place when you wrote the book, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then, so tell us about how that all worked and like how you integrated the NTRP system into the book.
If you look at the beginning of each chapter, I think it defines what that player is. That's straight off the NTRP back when we wrote the book in 1997, I think it was. So that's what the definition of the player was then. And then we wrote to that. And then we gave strategies to win at that level. And we also put strategies to actually improve for skills that you would need at the next level. You know, you got to win to get to the next level. But when you get to the next level, you got to know what it takes to win at that level and be prepared. So we gave drills and quick tips. Some of my favorite things in it are quick tips because it kind of helps you self-analyze. But I mean, that's the way we approached it.
So we were reading it. I was reading it to Carolyn in the car while she was driving. And the great thing is, like we talked about at the beginning, it's broken out into those different levels, 2.5, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0, 4.5, and beyond. And we're both 4.0s. We got bumped the COVID year. And then everybody stayed the same level for, I don't know, the 2 years or whatever. But the thing that made me laugh was we would read the 4.0 level and we're like, yeah, we know how to do some of that stuff. But then we would read the 2.5 and I'm like, wait, I'm lacking on the hits, hits, or no, the 3.0. It was like hits a decent volley, or so it's like we got to that 4.0 level, but now, and I guess it's what you said, like you can reflect back and look at the book, but it's like I'm still lacking on some of the fundamentals coming up. And I don't know if that's because I took lessons, I started playing leagues, and now I play leagues all the time, and I won enough to keep getting bumped up. But I have some work to do going backwards. But I think that's what is cool about the book, and just reading the NTRP levels of what you should be able to do at each level. We both have figured out that we're lacking in some of the, we've missed some of those bullet points at the beginning.
Well, here's the deal. If you go back and fix some of those things, like you said, I don't volley at a proficient level. You fix some of those things, you'll get to 4 or 5 level. Because it sounds to me like y'all are probably talented players, and you're very competitive on betting. And you win based on the fact that you have a good partnership and you know what each other's doing, and then you work together pretty well. But there's room for improvement on the technical side, it sounds like. And if you did that, volleying's easy. I mean, volleying's so easy to teach to me. I don't know. It's just, and so, if you went back and worked on that, I think you would probably reach 4 or 5, pretty easily. Problem is when you get to 4 or 5, there's not many people to play with.
Yes. True. We read this bullet point. We said, adjust. This was for the 4-5 level. And we're like, oh, we can tick off some of the 4-5 things. Adjust strategy according to opponent's game. Yes. What did you say about that?
So we played recently and we lost badly, but we adjusted the strategy. So we had that part, but not according to the opponent's game, we feel like. We just kind of threw all this different stuff out there that we tried.
We threw the kitchen sink. We also, at the 2-5 level, we did 1 up, 1 back doubles or 2 back doubles, which we said, well, we did 2 back doubles. So we reverted back to our 2-5 days, and that didn't work either. We tried everything.
If you play 2 back the correct way, it works at any level. Because when I was coaching at LSU, there's 3 lines of doubles when you start, right? So, and that's worth 1 point. We won 25 doubles points and lost 2 that whole year. And we played 2 back on first serves on courts 1, 2, and 3 on every first serve. But the reason we did it is because it takes the advantage away from the server. So if the server is hitting good serves and you can't get the ball past the net person, or you're hitting weak returns, you don't have to. All you got to do is get the ball and play at that point, because the guy poaching gets the ball and hits a volley, they don't have a target anymore. So the net person's not there to hit at. So then they either have to hit an angle volley or something else. And then you get into the point, and then, if they hit a weak volley, then you can both move forward, hit the ball at them, and you can both go to the net and go to the offense. And so.
Okay. So this is the receivers. The receivers supposed to play back.
Yes.
Okay. I was just making sure. Okay. So it's the receivers supposed to play back on the first serve.
So, it's a viable strategy. I did it when I was playing with my son the other day. We were losing 5-2 and we played 2 back. And, my son said, well, why are we playing 2 back? Are you trying to teach me how to change the momentum? I go, that's exactly what I'm doing, because what we're doing is not working. Right? So if we play 2 back and make them play, we're giving it to them. Let's just play 2 back and make them play, and we ended up going up 6-5. We ended up losing, but, at least we were able to change the momentum. And we've done that a couple of times in some matches that we were playing, because, I don't see as well as I used to. So stepping into the ball and hitting the ball, inside the baseline doesn't really work for me as much anymore. So I tend to play back a little bit more, let the ball come to me, get it in play, and then work from there. At least you're making them beat you. And that's the key. You got to make them beat you. So, the two back strategy, it really works at any level. You just have to play it correctly.
Okay, so we just
That's
have to
what we're doing next.
Yeah, we're going to play it correctly next time.
I feel like we got a tennis lesson via a podcast.
Since you have coached a lot of adult recreational players, what things do you see that we need to work on the most? Like, we don't have a lot of time. A lot of people are working, doing other things. Like, is it the ball machine we need to do? What recommendations do you have for people like us that are just average adult recreational players?
To me, the biggest problem with people when they play is they don't play strategically correct. I explained this to somebody the other day. I said, if you're not playing the percentages and in the right positions and hitting the balls in the right places that are going to give you the highest percentage, it's like trying to beat the casino. The casinos win all the time because the odds are in their favor. So if you're playing high risk tennis or you're not giving yourself the best chance to win a point, you're playing against a casino. You know what I mean? So over time, you're going to lose. You might be hot that day, but over time in a league season, you're going to lose more than you win if you're not playing correctly. So, that's where the value of lessons, clinics, situational clinics where, hey, we're in one up, one back. The ball goes over here. This is where you need to be. That's in our book. You need to be here. You need to be there. And this is why you need to be here. If the ball goes wide, you're going to give them 6 inches in the alley. If they hit that all day long, they deserve to win. But, take away the cross court, which is, an easier, more natural play that they play. And, and then watching people's tendencies, I think, also is very beneficial with respect to strategy.
That's what we couldn't figure out this last week.
No, I know.
We just kept trying. They were really good. I mean, they were good.
The fact that you were trying to figure it out tells me a lot about you guys right there, because some people, they just can't figure it out, And I think there was we wrote the book 30 years ago, so I don't really look at it like frequently, but I think there was a situation in there where it talked about, hey, if you're losing 4-1, but every game's deuce and you're just losing the big points, you might not have the wrong strategy. You're just not executing. But if you're losing 4-1 and every game's, you're losing every game you love and you were lucky to win one game, then you need a strategy change. So sometimes you got to really analyze what you're doing. And, one of the things that we were doing that I'm going to be doing where I am at the new club I'm going to be is we're going to be doing coaching matches where a whole nother club brings their team and we get the whole staff and every court has a pro on it and they give you real-time advice as to, okay, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Why don't you try this? And, and they're like, oh, I'm not good at that. I go, well, we're practicing. It doesn't matter who wins in this match. We're trying to learn. So do it and let's see what happens. Poach and see what happens. You don't ever poach, but let's do it and let's see what happens, right? So I think matches like that where you can have coaches coach you in real time and it doesn't count are invaluable to get people out of their, they're in a comfort zone with what they do, but they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. So that's the way you do it. You get them, okay, let's try this. Let's try that. Let's see what happens. And then they go, oh, wow. And it was funny because one time I was coaching Elaine, I go, hey, look, just hit the ball down the line. I know, but the lady's standing right there. I go, I know, but what you don't realize is the lady's standing right there. But as soon as the ball goes in the box, she runs across every time, 3 feet over. So it's wide open. So if you just hit it, just hit it there. Just humor me and do it, So they hit it there and there was a win. And they looked at me and they're like, that worked. I go, okay, good. So next time they do it again. And when they stop doing it, then you don't have to do it anymore. But a lot of times, what I'm saying is a lot of times you're playing, you don't realize. And if you have somebody there watching you, they can say, hey, do this. When, the lady or the guy, who's playing backhand, he hits cross court every time. So stand right in the middle. Maybe he can't hit it down the line,
Since you did coach for a number of years, I ask this a lot, but this is because I have issues on the tennis court. When, you have a player that gets frustrated on the court, can't figure out what to do, just as a head case, me, for example, what advice would you have for someone like that? Since you coached at the collegiate level, you deal with a lot of tennis players, you deal with juniors. What advice would you have for people like us?
Well, I mean, I think this is going to sound like Nick Saban, but you really have to get them to focus on the process and the, what's in front of you. Because people that are head cases, most of the time they're focusing on what happened. Like Kyrgios today. If y'all watch that, he was up 40-11 in a game and he misses a return and he goes crazy and loses the next 4 points and loses that game. And then he did the same thing when he was serving at 40-love. So he's focusing on what happened and not focusing on what's ahead. And if you can get anybody that's a head case to finally live in the moment and focus on what's ahead, that's the best way to get them out of it, in my opinion. And the best players can do that.
That's what I'm going to tell Carolyn next time we play a doubles match.
Well, what I'm hearing is I'm just curious. So I'll take that too.
A head case like curious.
A head case, yeah. I'll take it.
There you go.
Thanks so much to Brett for being on the podcast. We've included information about his book in our show notes. And we have one more episode with Brett where he discusses his experience being a ratings verifier. So he used to give people ratings like 3.0 or 3.5, and he would travel to the state championship and sectionals to disqualify people. which I thought was very interesting, so we hope you listen next week. If you'd like to see a picture of Brett, please check out our website, which is secondservepodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening and hope to see you on the courts soon.